or we've got that Ornn support that I was talking about.
I suppose there is the tiny possibility that it could be Trundle support as well with Ornn jungle, but
yeah.
As LS loves to say, Korea would never do that because they don't like taking chances on weird comps and strategies. It's interesting to see Joker with the notebook.
I know,
with
right?
The headset on behind them all, as it does look like it is going to be that Ornn support that you were mentioning. Definitely the more common.
And here we are onto the rift for game number 1, SANDBOX versus Team Dynamics. Team Dynamics desperate to try and steal away a spot on the 3rd time of asking here in the LCK. And this is their last chance. There is, like, officially last chance. There is no other opportunity to get into the LCK. There still will be, like, an Academy League, but it is, of course, going to work very similarly to how it does in the LEC, LCS. Not going to be like Challengers Korea of old. So see whether Team Dynamics can make it work here, as Gugu is just going to sit there, throw down some emotes, and Gorilla showing off that he has his own one.
Yeah.
The bees are adorable. I'm a big fan.
Yeah. The bees definitely high tier emotes in the game, for sure. I like the... I don't know who it is, but it's some female champion, and she has like a red and a blue, like... What do you call them? Thunder sticks?
Yeah.
Right next to her face, like she's fighting, you know?
Yep, yeah.
I like that one. I'm a big fan. And
it can
of course,
be really good to troll with that one as well. That one does work.
Oh man, I feel bad for Janair, but I actually have the Janair emote as well, and whenever I do something really not great, I throw up the Janair emote. Oh, poor Janair.
Oh, that's
it just feels, you know, pertinent to talk about now because we are here in promotions.
Indeed.
And it'll be interesting to see how it goes. My eyes are going to be on this top lane, as this was the, of course, key player matchup. Rich. Excited to see him back here on our screens, getting to cast him.
I wonder if this is AD Kennen as well. You can see he's taken the Conqueror. Certainly can be played as, you can use this rune in order to just go straight into the AP Kennen anyway, but certainly an opportunity to move over to more of that AD style that I think only Cube demonstrated in the LCK this season. Weird and wonderful things on this rift thus far, and this one being the Strangers, as Gorilla is piloting this Ornn support. He is going to be getting a fair bit of money in this lane. We'll see whether it is going to work out enough, as we'll have to see how Root proves himself as the ideal AD carry for SANDBOX, because the last time they played, they used Leo, so who knows, really? As Beyond, he's going to be taking his blue buff. He needs it. Doesn't have a lot of mana at the moment, but Graves does like to just clear through his jungle, and it stays extraordinarily healthy while he does so.
I'm just going to stack him up as well, although that didn't really work out, Beyond. Now he's going to have some mana and get to that. So, yeah, I mean, he's just going to be chilling back there, scaling up alongside of Aphelios. But the Aphelios is going to be pretty interesting in this one to see if he can actually get work done against the composition that SANDBOX do have. Although, as you were mentioning with the Conqueror, it'll be interesting to see if Summit is just going to go straight, you know, split push Kennen instead of like full-on hard engage with the Ornn on AP Kennen, which I think I would have liked to see instead.
Actually don't really mind going for more of that split push style, because Zoe can be very good at denying any sieges. Not to mention Senna also having a lot of those defensive options, and Ornn needs no introduction there. As on fleek, moving on around. And Rich is down very low underneath this turret. That Q is going to go wide, but you can see Summit is positioned aggressively in this lane early on. It's 14 to 30. Wow.
Yeah, Rich, I don't know what to call it. I mean, he misused his Qs, so he got the minions, the ranged minions, too low, and there were a lot of them stacked up. So he eventually just lost like 5 of them in a row. Yeah. Maybe a little bit of nerves. I'm not exactly sure. Obviously, it is very hard to lane into a Kennen that has gone AD with Conqueror and Doran's Blade, but at the same time, there were definitely some noticeable mistakes in the way that he was CSing. So hopefully he can fix that there.
Yeah. It shouldn't be the end of the world, of course. Like you said, it's a tough matchup anyway. As FaZe getting decent poke down onto Root and Gorilla, sort of playing against Root mana bar at the moment, because of course does have that piercing darkness for the extra sustain. Gorilla just clearing things out. Root's going to miss the little orb there. A little bit unfortunate, but it's all right. We'll just have to see how this double pillar comp is going to work, as Gorilla and OnFleek can both put them down.
Yeah, the Ornn has a lot of things to bonk his head into.
Yep.
With this composition, we'll see how their teamwork does work out. And yeah, Gorilla is going to be getting a lot of the CS. He will be getting the gold, but of course he won't be getting those ever important levels because he is in the duo lane down in the bottom side. So will be kind of interesting to see exactly how it goes, you know, because we don't really get to see the support Ornn all too often. I suppose with the Zoe and the AD cannon, there should be at least 2 guys where you can get a bunch of those good Ornn items onto.
Ow. Fate took a lot of damage. Kuzan going in for a good trade. Did use his Ignite though, and wasn't able to actually pick up any kills, but did manage to get the heal out of Fate, as you can see. But so far, Kuzan certainly in a winning lane. He was always a good LeBlanc player, actually, for the longest of times. Kuzan often having some really good performances on majority of teams that he was playing for, just not quite able to find himself success, and was therefore let go down here towards Challenger's career. But we saw even in the Kesper Cup, team dynamics weren't too bad. Yeah. We're able to get some decent performances. QMax here out of Summit, and is still ahead by about 20 CS. It's going to go down to about 17 here, as Rich does manage to clear up those caster minions.
Yeah, he looks much cleaner when he doesn't have Summit breathing down his neck.
Yeah.
Of course, as TP is going to be used now by Summit up in the top side. And we're just kind of hanging out. Both these teams don't really look like they're going for any big plays. You know, OnFleek has just been farming, trying to keep up with Graves, which is impossible when you think about it. But he has just felt forced into that. You know, he tried to go for a little bit of a dive up in the top side, but it was spotted out by Beyond's good positioning. And so we're just farming here, Atlas.
It is certainly the lull state at this point in time. So to see whether I wasn't expecting this either, because these are 2 of our mono red teams. They have picked compositions that do like to fight at least around the mid game. I guess Aphelios is a little bit of an oddball there, and Leon is going to do the same thing as far as erring on the side of the scaling. These compositions otherwise, you know, with LeBlanc and the Zoe wanting to play around that mid game very, very much. And Kennen and Aatrox also fitting into that basket. That's all right. Flash out there from FaZe as Gorilla not even having to use his. That is a win on the gank already here for OnFleek.
Pretty simple one there. You could see that dynamics were going for that early Drake as another fight here.
That's a slashing Maelstrom on the top side of the map as Rich is about to get solo killed. Summit is looking for that last little bit, but the World Ender comes in trumps. And Rich is going to be able to keep himself alive. Down to about 200. Summit had to use his flash as well. That is just 100% a win by Rich. I am so sorry for expecting Summit to win that fight.
You know, I don't blame you, though, because it looked like he was so confident with how, you know, forward he was going, and it was almost this game of chicken where Summit was like, no, you're going to flash away from me, and I'm going to win this trade. And Rich is like, no.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm going to win. I have my passive up in a couple seconds. And at the end of the day, Rich was correct. I think that Summit may be overestimating his power there, even up a level still. Not able to take down the mighty Aatrox up in the top side. And so definitely a nice little win for Rich as ults just to clear the wave, it looks like.
Going to be able to do fantastically well there as the sentry turret even going down. It's going to mean all of those minions do go begging as Fate does finally find himself a decent trade in mid lane. See Dynamics looking to try and answer what was some Rift Herald pressure. We see this all the time. The FaZe with his Crescendum certainly able to lock down a lot of damage on this turret. Gorilla teleports back in though. That is going to be the end of that. So 1 plate is going to be what Dynamics get before SANDBOX make their way back down bot.
Gorilla with the TP, able to get there just on time. And that was the only place where they actually had a attempted gank. Speaking of which, Baolan was looking for it here against Summit, but they call it off. Can be hard to lock down the little Yordle that is Kennen.
Yeah, a little Pikachu.
Yeah. I was going to say rat, but then I wanted to change that. One of my friends that I do it with, he always calls Kennen a rat.
The lightning rat?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with rats, personally.
Yeah, I think they're kind of cute, actually.
Yeah, me too.
I never really had a problem with rats.
Yeah. Plus, you know, if you think about the Ninja Turtles, rats are super cool, actually.
True.
Because Splinter was a rat.
Yeah.
And he was also the wisest, most amazing master ever.
Turns out rats are really smart.
Yeah. So I think rats are misunderstood. I think it might have been that.
Think about all their contributions to society.
Yeah. With
all the lab rats and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That get tested on.
Making sure that all of our makeup is
here
safe.
we go.
Summit, he's not so safe. Slicing Maelstrom comes down, does get a decent snare. There's the shield, but it's not enough. First blood goes to Rich on the top side of the map. As they knew there was no flash available, and they just took that one down. Fate, of course, did have a redemption, but didn't actually manage to do anything.
And my favorite part about that was the Zoe emote afterwards, the bye-bye sad Zoe. But yeah, this is just wonderfully set up. I mean, he's able to sneak into that forward brush. He baits him to come down the lane. And Rich, seeing the shield coming in from the center from downtown, knows he has to flash to go for the kill. Just great execution and a great setup there from the side of Dynamics. It's going to get that top lane in a really great spot after having trouble with the CSing, of course, as that kill also did go the way of Rich.
Yep, managed to get himself a plate afterwards as well, so that's going to make up a lot of that. And Rifto actually just bonked down here in the mid lane. You can see bot side gets inside track as well, as Fate's going to get a lot of extra money here as Fuzan looks to try and clear out the minion wave, but they're not going to be able to stop most of these plates going down. Only one more remains there in that mid lane. Great start so far from Team Dynamics, but SANDBOX do answer back in mid lane.
Yeah, they had a bunch of gold there. It was split between, I think, Fate and Root, perhaps. But still, definitely a nice chunk. The only thing is that FaZe did get a lot of time to just kind of solo the lane down on the bottom side with no pressure from the Ornn, so he has hit level 8 and is going to be up about 20 CS on the Ornn for now. As, once again, we will take a look here at the top lane. It still does look like the cannon is in a pretty good spot for now. Yep. As Beyond is also going to come on in here. Keep in mind, he's level 9, and he's more than a full level ahead of On Fleek so far, who has basically done nothing except get the flash at a phase, and now he's got it back in time for Dragon.
Yeah, and Beyond should be able to lock this one down as well as we move towards a Cloud Drake, as he has the most gold in the game as well. Gorilla and On Fleek moving on around here, though, as it looks like Beyond might be able to lock this one down, but not going to be able to do so without a fight. As Kuzan off to the backside, they do manage to grab the Dragon, as Guga just stops that Ram from doing anything. FaZe now has to flash. Did have that one back available as a slice mouse from immediate cleanse. Sorry, Exhaust comes in as Summit has to flash away, but he's burning down, and he's locked down by Kuzan. Kuzan off to the back end eventually falls, but this is a massive fight in favor of Dynamics, and it's not over yet. FaZe just so much damage with that Moonlight Vigil early in the fight.
Well, I have to say, if you, you know, he has gone proto belts here, so it is going to be the AP Kennen, I suppose, but he just went so far in, immediately got exhausted, Summit that is, and they got themselves into such a sad situation afterwards, as this is super clean Dragon, this is textbook.
Yeah.
You take it down with the Graves, and you block it, but then everything is forced here from SANDBOX. They're like, we gotta get something out of this. And look at this, it's the perfect Moonlight Vigil from the right side. Kuzan comes in from the left, gets a huge distortion. And you just, it doesn't matter, you know, the game is too even right now for you to put yourself in that bad of a position and feel forced to take that kind of a wonky team fight. And it really came back to bite SANDBOX, because now they're in a pretty dire spot after that one. Everybody's flash is on cooldown, actually, in the entire game.
Yeah,
after
and
that
Beyond
fight.
can do absolutely anything that he wants at this point in time. 1-0 and 2. He's moving towards some Merc Treads as well as his Black Cleaver. So not going to have the Negan build this time around on the Graves, but he's still in a really, really good spot. And that level lead is only continuing, as he's 2 levels ahead of Outplays right now.
Look at the item that Rich has.
Yeah, he's building for Death's Dance before anything, actually.
Yeah, first item Death's Dance. I think that would make LS pretty happy. No Black Cleaver here.
Well, not yet. Does, of course, have the cheeky little Kindle Gem in his back pocket. So I assure you, we are going to see that Black Cleaver very, very soon.
Well, I suppose we might get to here as no cleanse for Kuzan. He elected to go Ignite, which makes him a bit stronger in the burst trades, but of course can get himself caught out by trouble bubbles from time to time. But
also a very Kuzan decision as well.
Absolutely. And he's been having a fine time in the mid lane, so can't really, in a results-based analysis way, I can't really blame him for that, as Rich is in an awkward spot here. But
Summit seems to be the one in the most awkward spot, though, as that Infernal Chain was one of the longest I have ever seen activate. It is able to deny Summit any entry into this river, as Kuzan lands the chains, but he's going to lose out on that trade as Guga puts up the wall and keeps this turret alive for the moment. Of course, turret plates have fallen down. Team Dynamics now sitting on very close to a 2,000 gold lead as we move to 16 minutes into this game. SANDBOX do have a lot of scaling options. The Ornn is certainly going to help them there. Oh, that's a great trouble bubble to land. They do get the ultimate out of the Braum, but otherwise nothing else to happen, and does help clear out that minion wave as Rich will be able to grab this turret up here on top side and grab himself first turret blood. Bit of extra gold going over to the Aatrox will get him towards his Death's Dance on this next back, and we'll see whether that Pahage is also coming in for the Phage for those playing at home.
We'll see what he does end up electing to go into as the dance is completed. And that top lane has really turned on its head. Of course, Summit still ahead on CS, but Rich doing a fine job in terms of the gold, of course, with his kill and assists. And Beyond has been just fantastic so far in this game. He's playing a great Graves, sitting back. He's 40 CS of the Trundle, who has, again, really done nothing, even though he does have one
his
kill.
Top laner.
He has one kill, but, you know, like, that's...
He didn't want that. He just wanted to kill camps. Like, he doesn't want kills onto champions. No.
He's going to be scaling up so much. He's going to be so strong as this game does come along. And the double Black Cleaver will be interesting. I suppose nobody's really going to have armor on the enemy team, so...
And then the Aphelios is going to do about a bajillion damage.
Exactly.
Technical term, bajillion, I think.
About 5 quadrillion.
5 quadrillion?
Yeah.
I wasn't quite ready to make that call.
Take a look at the gold there on the left side. Only Fate is having an okay time so far in this game.
Oh, Guga, though. Just terrible.
Why do you gotta hate on the promotion king? 6th time
he
in
is
promotions.
The promotion king. Hasn't won a lot of them.
The
Brandon.
gatekeeper. Well, except he's usually on the opposite side of the gate, so I don't know.
Might be able to turn it around here, though, because so far you can see that Team Dynamics are doing very well against SANDBOX. This is, of course, a best of 3, guys, so even if this game 1 does go to Dynamics, it's still an opportunity for SANDBOX to fight back. So Infernal Chains do land. Gorilla going down to half. And now you can see Root trying to get back in there. Is camouflage for the moment as Kuzan just dives in just to soften up the members of SANDBOX. And they had nothing that they could do to answer. Bubble lands, though, and this is the opportunity for the Zoe. That Dawning Shadow didn't really do too much there. And Dynamics move themselves back. The Dragon is started once again, but they are relatively split. This might be an opportunity for SANDBOX to get themselves in.
Very awkward fight from both sides, if I do say so myself. And yeah, it does look like Team Dynamics are going to have Beyond try to steal it, and they're actually going for a TP play here.
Yep, Rich is going to try and get forward. Oh, it's not going to be stolen away. It's the center that locks down the Dragon, but can they win the kill? The team fight, sorry, is the cannon is going to fall down immediately once again. The chains landed. Gorilla is very dead. SANDBOX walk away with the Dragon, but they lose 2 in trade for 1.
Yeah, Mountain Drake does go down. It's only 1 on their side. And they do have a bunch of guys that are going to be building resistances, so it's not negligible, but you can see what happens here as the Ornhorn. Cougar's not in position. I feel like he actually played this fight pretty poorly as he got super low very early on, but he was there to just be an exhaust bot, essentially, which did end up turning the fight here for Team Dynamics. So I suppose he did what he could at the end of the fight. That's basically all that he could do, as because of the Ornhorn, it did block away Beyond, but still it did end up giving Dynamics the lead here. And they're going to be super happy with that. I mean, they're always going to have exhaust for every time that Summit tries to engage, and they have better scaling with the super ultra fed Graves and the Aphelios that's doing quite a nice job himself.
Beyond just wanders over. Yeah. This is a camp on the map. It is therefore mine. Steals that one away very easily. And he's very close to his Black Cleaver. Completion will allow FaZe to do even more insane amounts of damage in these next few fights. 2-1 and 2 for Kuzan as well, whose mid-game is going to shape up very nicely now that he has received a couple of kills. It looks like he is going towards his Banshee's Veil next, and that will mean these trouble bubbles aren't going to be so scary as Fate not being able to find many of the key bubbles. The Paddle Star's going slightly wide in a few of these fights as well. We'll see whether Fate can turn this one around, because why is it that SANDBOX have Fate playing when Dove is one of our better Zoes in the LCK?
No idea.
Like,
it has to be like scrim results or something like that.
Yeah, it's very strange.
I don't know.
Maybe they get Zoe bans too much, so this is the way of getting Zoe? Not sure.
That would be some 5-head big ban strats.
Nice.
Yeah. Kuzan being a little bit of a sneaky fellow, just trying to find an angle there to burst someone down, as he does have his Luden's Echo already completed.
Both of these Black Cleavers just finished, as well as Team Dynamics probably thinking about a fight around the next Mountain Drake.
Now is such an awesome time for Team Dynamics to fight, as you were mentioning.
Yeah.
All the power spikes in the world going their way right now. SANDBOX desperately trying to fight here.
A lot of extra damage there from FaZe, though. See Root not wanting to come in. Senna's, like, playing Senna is so scary, because it feels like you get breathed on by someone and you die.
Yeah. You just do a little bit of pokey and that's it. You know, with your
You do the
with your
pokey
gun.
and you turn around. That's what it's all about.
And you try not to die.
Yeah.
Generally, you usually do die at the end of it, as we do get a zoom in there on the cool pillar.
Yep, Rich is going to take down the Popcorn Chicken Camp, and Summit's not going to be able to stop him there. So yeah, we're rocking out a little bit, is Root, but not quite able to find too much so far this game. Execution is calling done. Umbral Glaive also completed. I have to check in on seeing where the stacks are for this center, because so far the center not really doing too much, as Fasting Center sort of had her time in the sun and really has seemed to have fallen off.
Yeah, it does feel that way. I mean, Gorilla, he's down on levels on the Ornn. He's 0 and 2. He's had a couple of decent engages, but not really much besides that. And the one thing that I was looking at on that XP graph was how Rich was more than a level ahead of his laning opponent, and is the highest level in the game with the most gold.
Yeah.
As that Aatrox is a big fellow.
Look, and this goes back to Heroes of the Storm tactics. Laning phase means nothing. Win team fights, get kills. And look, it's
CS,
working.
you don't need to CS either.
Nah, it's not about that. He's still losing in CS. That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But he's not down by too much. Especially now, as he's been able to take control of some of these side lanes.
Yeah.
Bit of a slow push now being set up towards the top side. As you can see, Kuzan with his new Banshee's Veil complete. Runon's Hurricane is in. This fight for the Mountain Drake, Dynamics will not be stronger than this particular point in comparison to SANDBOX for the rest of the game. They have to try and force a fight here, and they should be able to do so easily. Let's see whether Summit has anything up his sleeve. See whether he can escape Guga and his ever-present exhaust. Kuzan diving into the backside will find Fate for a little bit of extra damage. Smoke screen coming down there as well. FaZe clears out the mid wave.
Just trying to switch guns there away from the root gun and get onto Shandom, it looks like. But here we go. On to the Drake fight. Kuzan coming over. He's going to scout out Summit and deny the flank.
Yeah, Bubble does land, but no follow-up there onto Rich. FaZe, a lot of damage, especially close range with these weapons. DYN is going to be able to get that smite as Infernal Chain Slam, but Cougar immediately falls down. The exhaust did come in, but it was onto Gorilla this time, and now maybe it's going to be an opportunity for Summit. He has Flash, he has Slicing Maelstrom, and Dynamics are down a support.
Yeah, down a support, so you can see Kuzan still trying to be tricky here as they're going to use this advantage to go in and push mid. They're moving over towards Baron, but I don't think there's any chance in this world that they're going to try to start that up right now. So they'll take what they can get after Team Dynamics outplayed them here in this team fight. Great positioning. They have the flank from Kuzan, but also the two-pronged approach in the front from Rich and Cougar. Even though Cougar does die, he zones everybody out because he's like, you can't just walk into me. I'm going to block everything. And that's what allows Beyond to pick up that Mountain Drake. And now we're on Mountain Soul. Points up next. So in 4 minutes, we were talking about these item power spikes. Dynamics obviously extremely strong right now, and it's going to be the best time for, of course, Aatrox and LeBlanc, but even as time goes on, the Graves and the Aphelios going to be feeling pretty good about themselves as well. So, from the lead, really liking Dynamics' position right now.
So you can see SANDBOX trying to move Gorilla towards some ornaments. Not quite level 12 just yet, and needs another level after that before he can build his own. But the Abyssal Mask is going to be coming in soon, and that will be when SANDBOX do start to put some extra money in those coffers as far as those stats are concerned. We'll see whether it is going to be available before the next 3 minutes and 20 seconds, which is where Dynamics will be looking for that Mountain Soul like you were talking about. I think stealing away that Mountain Drake earlier on is really pivotal at this stage of the game. Really does put SANDBOX back in it with a chance against Dynamics, even though it does feel like they are very favored as this game goes on.
Yeah, the Zoe absolutely going to be key. 2-0-1 has the most farm in the game, so for what we have said about the difference between Fate and Dove, Fate has been doing a pretty nice job in terms of keeping up in this game.
Yeah.
And it's going to be key for him to be landing all of his skill shots, because a Zoe that can't do that is obviously not going to be very effective, and that seems pretty obvious, you know, just on paper, but especially because he is the most ahead for his team, it's going to be more important than normal. As FaZe, he's already beginning to really do some nice damage.
Yeah.
As he gets an extra crit cloak to begin really shelling out the damage.
He's real scary. As Rich is going to be able to take down this control ward. It looks like Summit doesn't even want to fight him. Does have Morellonomicon. That is going to be very important against Rich, especially. Might mean that some of those plays that he was making early on are not going to be as impactful.
Double Morello.
Yeah, there's a lot of forbidden books. We said that they were sinning, but they've even got the book that has all the instructions on how to sin.
Yeah.
In multiple people's hands. I mean, they're passing them out. It's like a bookstore signing day or something like that for the guy that wrote Morellonomicon.
And it's great against Aatrox and Aphelios, but it's not great against their item choices on the side of Dynamics, because we got 3 Merc Treads, we have MR on Braum. Obviously the Void Staff would have been pretty nice, but maybe he goes Morello and Void Staff or something like that to handle it. We'll have to wait and see how these two players do itemize for their third item, or if it's even going to matter, if we even get there, because I think if Team Dynamics pick up the Mountain Soul, we might be in for a pretty quick end of the game.
This is an interesting 2v2, as there's the Subjugate, but Beyond is going to get past the pillar, and it actually blocks out on Fleek. Summit just teleported in to try and keep everyone alive, and Dynamics say thank you very much for the Summoner spell. We'll back on out.
Yeah, Beyond is he's playing very confidently in this game, which is something you really like to see.
He has so much farm, Valdez.
It's insane.
It's really silly.
He's like at, what is it, like maybe 8.5 CS per minute as a jungler? Like,
yeah.
That doesn't happen. It's pretty crazy what
That's
he has
nutty.
been able to do.
Very impressive here from Beyond, and it means that he's starting to steal away camps from OnFleek as well, which is why he's falling a little bit further and further behind. Goes back, gets an Executioner's Calling. We've got the Phantom Dancer done here for FaZe as well. So much crit built up already on this Aphelios, 3 out of Spike. Very, very strong right now as Fate goes in, does get a bit of damage, but Cougar is going to be A-OK And now the Mountain Drake fight will start. 5 seconds before she does come down off her perch. Kuzan thinking about getting into a flanking position, pops over that wall, see whether he can clear out the vision that is there for SANDBOX. SANDBOX are relatively prepared for this with the vision that they have accrued. You can see Dynamics, they move into the pit very confidently. And Kuzan's going to be able to land the stun onto OnFleek. OnFleek getting into smite position. Summit moves on over, but was spotted out. And now Rich is trying to play goalie. Kuzan dives into the backline. Root has to go golden. And there's the Mountain Soul who we were talking about. In goes Summit, but again, instantly exhausted and taken down. Cougar, of course, is going to die. He dies every team fight. And then Team Dynamics are able to win. Gorilla not going to be able to run away from this one. Fate and Root, the only ones left alive. Could this be the pentakill for Beyond? The answer is no, because of course Kuzan's going to steal one of them away, and now Fate has to watch as Dynamics probably just take a Baron. Fate. Or he's just going to die.
Yeah, he does have that flash, so he's going to be able to get away, but man, Team Dynamics coming in here strong in game number 1, just stomping SANDBOX here in this mid to late game. They take the big fight, they're going to move over and take the Baron. Just look at that positioning again. They had a control ward for Summit. They saw him coming. Rich up 2 levels, able to zone him out. Kuzan on the left. Fantastic play. Able to zone everybody out. Summit immediately exhausted. No, he does nothing. Root has to play so far back. And when you're playing front to back like this with perfect positioning in this fight, Graves is just going to have a ball. I mean, he's so fed right now. We can only say it so many times, but it's so crazy to see the amount of damage he is doing when he's allowed to do it, as now he's 4-0-4. I think SANDBOX might not be found in the LCK at this rate. We'll have to see what they can do for game 2, because I think the nail's in the coffin for this one, Atlas.
I think it is. I think Kuzan's also had a really good game thus far. But of course it is a best of 3. SANDBOX can turn it around. And so far Dynamics in this game have just had full control at every turn. It's a mortal reminder on Beyond. Like, he already has that item fully completed. Summit has to go back to base, is now with Baron buff. Dynamics are knocking on the front door of SANDBOX's base. I think stopping picking the fasting center is a good idea. At this point in time, wasn't working for T1 either.
First picking Trundle.
Yeah, first picking Trundle also probably not the best.
With Graves available. That, I think that's, their drafts are just antiquated, right? They're just like behind 3 weeks or something, you know?
And this is with new coaching stuff as well, so it's a little bit worrisome that the same issues that have been plaguing SANDBOX are still there. Because my god, this turret is belting if FaZe is going to be able to get in range to shoot it. Takes a fair bit of damage there though, as now SANDBOX trying to defend. Beyond is going to get stunned. Otherwise he's going to be able to make it out. Kuzan clears this minion wave. And the split push is working here for Dynamics. This fresh minion wave down towards the bottom side should help take down this turret, but the rest of them rotate over. The minion wave in mid lane, not quite there yet. FaZe just walks up and gets some extra damage there, puts down his sentry turret to make sure that he can, and that's going to be base broken in both sides very, very early. 32 minutes into this game, these 2 inhibitors going to be the next target. No fight to be started, just get his face. Takes way too much damage, and now Rich moves on in to try and get this team fight started. Moonlight Vigil is fantastic from FaZe in the backline as well. As inhibitor on bot side is going to be taken. The one in mid already down, and FaZe is getting to work on these Nexus turrets. This is looking pretty over, Valdez. As now in goes Summit for that last-ditch effort. I believe he got no, the exhaust wasn't up, but he just didn't do enough damage, as that wasn't the real Kuzan. Rich keeps himself alive. Umbral Dash gets himself out of there. The Infernal Chains are going to land. The center locks down the kill, but there are no more Nexus turrets left. Team Dynamics will walk away with a Game 1 win up against SANDBOX.
And what a win, too. It wasn't just